What's going on, guys? Welcome. Hope you're glad to be back. I know I am. I'm going to be joined today by my best friend, the man himself, the professional from GSRC. It's Landos Radic, a.k.a. Scary Craig. It's Mr. Giancarlo Lenzi. What's going on, man?
Giancarlo Lenzi in the house! What's going on, people? It's race day here at Nurburgring GP.
That was way more enthusiasm than I brought.
I gotta one-up you every time, man.
You know what? I'm going to make it harder next time. I challenge accepted.
But yes, welcome, guys. This is round 4 of the Sim Racing 604 GT3 Split 2 League. This is Split 2. Split 1, which is on Tuesdays, is not broadcast, unfortunately. But we still got plenty of action, plenty of competition going on in the Split 2s. So if this is your first time joining, welcome, welcome.
And just a quick look at last week at Donington. We had Carter Close coming in P1, followed by Clark Muller, P2, and surprisingly Ed Berger. Not to say he's not fast, but saying he's the newest addition to our leaderboard here, P3 Ed Berger. And looking at so far the points total, it's Mr. Universe taking it back with a 251 into first place for the championship, followed by Trevor Stade with a 206. And then rounding out the top 3, it's Mr. Cousteau, Jonathan Corco with a 173. Jeffrey Brave follows closely behind. Then Clark Muller in P5. It's going to be interesting for Clark now, qualifying in P3, how he's able to gain to the leaders. Alex Gomez, a strong newcomer to the league in Season 5, P6. Mike Lattis, Rob Ruggiero, Christian Michelli, followed by Ed Berger coming up with the 10. And then it's the man, Lucky Leonard Cachola, P11. Glad to see him moving up with a 120. Tied for P11 with Brett Vaughn. Then comes Mark Keown, Casper Minda, and finally in the top 15, Brevin Yesk.
Moving on to the number 16 spot is Nick Gatto with 107 points, followed by Max Graff. And we're going to have to go through these pretty quick as they're starting to complete their lap. Brian Flaherty at 95th. Davin Sturdivant in 19th. It looks like we got a little break up there of that last week's four-way tie. Nicholas Lemon following Davin. Conrad Abbott in 89. Martin Warmington at 87. And Garrett Humphrey, 23rd spot. John Penders, Mike Lewis, Tom Knudsen, Nick Green, Michael Sika, Corey Robbins, Bruce Hopkins in the 30th spot.
And then coming in 31, we have Adam Baker, followed by Ezekiel Espindola, Brighton Burton, Denny Locke, Justin G. Doug Gatto, Kai Berman, new to the season, Luis LeBeau, Marcus Zyman, Patrick Wright, Thomas Jinnick, yet to complete a lap. I don't believe they're here tonight, but if they are, let's see where they can move up as we come up to the formation. We're about done. And what are you expecting to see tonight, man?
Well, it's really interesting. I mean, we're just looking at those point totals. You're not expecting a lot out of, Marcus Simon, Justin Gee. They're running number 2 and number 4 respectively for both those guys. So I'm expecting some good, exciting action up front. We have the return of Trevor Stade, who's running 5th in qualifying, and we have Jeff Bray returning also, who's actually qualifying 1st.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that we have our 2-time race winner qualifying in 6th place tonight.
Yeah, Carter Close has got his work cut out for him. He's running that first spot in the points total with 251 points as they're about to come to the last corner to start the race. Do you want to go ahead and announce this start?
I guess it's time I get myself warmed up.
We're seeing everybody in the field kind of back up.
And it looks like we're green here in Nurburgring, racing for Sim Racing 604 in Season 5. So far, it looks like Jeffrey Bray is doing a great job of maintaining that lead, followed by Justin G. Clark Muller getting really close, and it looks like Carter and possibly Jean Corkle, very close. Zyman, Alex Gomez, all going very tight into that first turn. There they go now. It looks like Trevor State is also getting involved. It's going to be a little difficult to tell there with the two McLarens with the same livery. It looks like they are kind of splitting themselves out. Alex Gomez, unfortunately, losing out as Max Graf catches up. Moving up once again with the leaders. Clark Muller still not able to get by on the McLaren of Justin G as he's closely following Jeffrey Bray. So far, a great start by the leaders. Justin G bringing it down the inside, on the outside, pardon for the bang, and Jeffrey Bray making a little bit of contact with a little bit of a slidey boy. Hopefully he regains control. Clark Muller now, he's going to be taking the lead ahead of them. These guys are racing very hard tonight as they come down into the hairpin. So far, it looks like Clark Muller has taken the lead, followed by Justin G and Jonathan Corkle coming up close. Actually, that's Marcus Zyman, pardon, as he's in front of Trevor Stade. Wonder what happened there to poor Jonathan Corkle.
And we just got Corkle, and I can't quite see who that was. I think it was Bray who was turned sideways back there. But we got somebody back in the track who is still held back, waiting for traffic to clear. It looked like it was a clean start for most of the rest of the field. We did not have any contact. Well, we had minor contacts kind of here and there. But the biggest thing was that Jeff Bray got a drive-through penalty on start. So it'd be interesting to see what the stewards actually may clear that, if it was an accident or if he's actually going to have to serve it.
Yeah, that was definitely tough. It's hard to make the call, but it looks like it was a hard split there with Justin and Jeffrey. So I'm sure there's a reason why they might have seen a little more involvement from Jeffrey Bray. Considering it's lap one, I would have said maybe a racing incident, but that's why I'm not a steward.
Yeah, it looks like Carter Close is now running 16th, so he might have got a turn, or as you saw earlier, he was off track. He's able to pull up into the 16th spot, and he's now hunting down Casper Minda, who Casper Minda is also now hunting down Zenny Glenn Odinti, who I believe is a new join for this season.
Mike Lewis, not enough to get around Ed Berger. Definitely a lot of moves happening in the back so far. Clark Muller and Justin G definitely building a lead, as well as Marcus Zyman and Trevor Stade. You know, I think you were right on the money when you said that Zyman was a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, absolutely. And one of those forces that we commentated before was actually Alex Gomez, who we saw at Hungaroring have a very strong performance. And it looks like he was the one who got turned around just around the hairpin. And now he's working his way back up into the field from 35th spot.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage, so it's going to be a tough race for the man himself. Clark Muller doing a great job of leading this race. It's almost taking us back to season 4. Almost starting to miss Robin Borden and Charles Saylor right now.
Oh man, those guys were super fast. Running with them in the season was an absolute privilege. Very fast racers, very clean and very, very tight.
It looks like we have
also
two
very
more
redundant.
Flags. I'm looking at the car number 23 in the back. Looks like that's Mike Lewis, who's now pitted, as well as number 9, Mark Keown.
Yeah, it's a real big gut punch once you get one of those flags early on.
And it looks like Nick Green was involved as well. Oh, that's a lot of damage for Nick Green.
Clark Muller running away with the race currently. He's now gapping Justin G at 1.3 seconds approximately. And back from G is actually Zayman, who's running about 2 seconds back from him. With Trevor Stade pulling up just behind Zayman to actually see, maybe he can show him some of that force and saying, hey, welcome to the league. Here's how fast we actually are.
Speaking of being fast, looks like Corkle's catching up on Ruggiero pretty quickly in the McLaren. Very good turn there by Jonathan Corkle. Great use of using, would you call that AstroTurf?
I'm not sure if it's AstroTurf, but definitely some sort of turf. But, you know, Ruggiero has been a pretty good force to be reckoned with. Not always running top 5, but definitely top 10 qualifier times, position-wise in races. And I think he's the only one within that group that's actually running the BMW. So he's definitely showing them that, hey, don't discount this car.
Actually, Thomas Knudsen is on that team with him.
Oh, excellent. Always nice to see some BMW teammates out there.
Interestingly enough, I ran that car in a 12-hour Nurburgring race this past weekend, and it was pretty intense, but the car definitely holds up, so I do think that it has great pace around this track. Don't ask me for the results.
I was just about to say, was like, and how did you fare in the race?
19, P19, not that bad.
That's pretty respectable.
Out of 22.
Little less.
Yeah, definitely. So far, though, Clark Muller doing a great job of maintaining his lead. It looks like Justin G is going to have to fight back quite a bit to get to the race leader.
Yeah, Justin G is just pulling away from these guys. His last lap was 156.9, while Zyman's 158.0 is just almost a second off from him. So he's now pulling 3.2 seconds back from Justin G. But he's got Trevor Stade trying to apply some pressure, catching up to him under braking, but just not having enough on the straight in the Audi that he's running in, with Graf, who's actually was only half a second, a little less than half a second from Stade, but now he's starting to pull into the mirrors and apply some pressure up front.
I believe this is the first time we've seen Max Graf within the top 5 this season.
So Joel Dallas is asking in the chat, what happened to Carter? Carter got a little bit knocked out on the first lap. We're not sure if there's actually going to be a driver penalty for the driver who turned him, but we did see him off track, unfortunately, at the start of the race on lap 1.
Here comes Jonathan Corkle going around the outside. Rob Bergero sticking it on the inside. Bergero's doing a great job of keeping Corkle behind him this race.
A lot of defense maneuvers there. Corkle's a very fast, very consistent driver, very technical as well. Him and I and Davin all ran in the Endurance League, and we've been kind of keeping up with each other and promoting each other's racing. And going to the inside there, as we see, and he's just not quite able to get it. Well, is he going to get it on the exit, though? And it looks like he's going to be able to pass Ruggiero on that last lap.
Doesn't look like Ruggero's willing to give it up just yet, though.
Yeah, still staying in the inside for defense. Going deep into the inside. I don't think that's going to probably compromise his exit there. Well, it looks like Ruggiero got cut off. So, yep, Corkle's going to stay in that lead, and he's saying, look, I'm here. I'm a little bit faster. Just follow behind me, and we'll run away from Cachola.
Speaking of Cachola, defending from Mike Latsis in the moment. Coming into turn 1, it looked pretty close. Very tempting not to switch it, but it looks like Cachola is starting to get a little bit of distance away from Mike Latsis. Speaking of distance, though, Nicholas Lemon backing up the train for P10. It's going to be a tough one with Adam Baker close behind. And looking at the leaderboards, it looks like Adam Baker did make the move on Nick Gatto. Unfortunate for Mr. Universe, he's still stuck behind.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the toughest part, is even if you know you're faster and you don't have much damage and you just got turned, getting by some of these guys, as we saw him flash the driver ahead of him, saying, hey, just let me through. It'll be faster for both of us. You can follow in my slipstream, and we can work together to get back up to that front spot.
Yeah, that was definitely a heroic moment there into the Schumacher S by Carter Close. Don't mind me as I quickly Google the track names for this track.
You mean the turn names?
Ah, yes, even better.
So going back and looking through to see if we got some battles. We've got Aaron Baker running behind Nick Lemon still. About half a second back, not able to do much in the last corner before the front straight.
That's a lot of damage by Adam Baker. Ooh, and Ed Berger coming down the inside on Nick Gatto. You hate to see it, but there he goes, down the inside.
You leave that door wide open, and somebody's going to enter through it.
Nick Gatto not willing to give it up just yet. Fantastic line by Ed Berger, definitely sticking it right in on that apex. And, you know, somebody who doesn't get much love is Brett Vaughn, Mr. Oreo. We need a better name for him. We'll come up with it soon.
Call him Crackers. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. That would be bad. Oh, no. Cookies. Cookies, I mean. I'm just going to stop.
Although, from the looks of it, it seems like he is in the mix of lapped vehicles, as it's Garrett Humphrey in front, and followed by Davin Sturdivant. According to the boards, actually, it looks like the lapped car here is Brett Vaughn, as his pit stop has been completed, so that's unfortunate for Brett.
Yep, Brett Vaughn just being a back marker, but still trying to keep with the pack, is running in 28th place.
Ooh, and there's Nick Gatto getting overtaken not only by Davin Sturdivant, Humphrey and Berman as well.
It looked like he had just a little bit of an off earlier.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Nick Gatto.
Unfortunate, yeah, and he's falling down those rankings. But who's not falling down the rankings is Clark Muller, who is now passing. Who is this? I can't tell who that is on track.
Give me a name. I'll beat him up.
It's a black Ferrari.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd say Shell Smith, but Shell has dropped out.
Oh, it's Casper Minda.
Oh, that makes sense.
What's going on there? Casper Minda running 36th place. I wonder what happened to cause him to drop back.
For you folks at home, Casper Minda, the colorful Ferrari. Here he is.
Which is not the same livery that I have. So unfortunately, our liveries are different.
Yes, it is. It's a little hard there, unfortunately.
We'll call that the Lego, the child's Lego.
That's a better name than what I was calling it. Lego Minda. There we go. Lego Minda. Let it go, Minda. You're not going to catch up to Muller. Let it go. And Muller just having his way with everyone here tonight. 5 seconds ahead of Justin G. That's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, it looks like Marcus and Trevor were actually able to catch up just a little bit. They're now... Simon's actually only 1.1 seconds from G. And it looks like his last lap was about 0.5 faster than Justin's. So they're making up a little bit of time here and there, and Trevor Stade hopefully is able to stick with Simon, with Graf kind of further down the field and not really getting the draft out of that front pack.
Now, not to break up this fight, but Carter Close has just dropped down to P21. Quickly saw there a yellow flag. Unfortunately for our championship leader, it has not been his race tonight.
Well, we'll see if he can make up any positions through the pit stops. That's always the hope. Looks like he is actually coming down into pits as we speak. So maybe early pit and then run it long, since the leaders have yet to pit. We are early in the race. These are 45-minute races. We are currently at 30 minutes and 25 seconds. So there's still quite a bit of time for pit strategy to play out.
And you know what? It's time for my new favorite segment of the race. We're almost halfway through. It's time to spin the wheel and find a random car that does not get a lot of love on track. Giancarlo Lindsay, who is our ugly duckling of this season so far?
I am looking at Zenny Glenn Unditi.
Oh, perfect. We chose the same one. He's actually brand new.
I was gonna say, I think I said earlier in the start, I have not seen hit on the track before, so this is a new name to me. And he's running, fairly midfield, a 23rd position, which I believe was right around his qualifying position. So looking to see some good mid-pack performance out of him.
Interestingly enough, Alex Gomez stuck behind Onditi. That's honestly gut-wrenching for Alex Gomez.
Well, if we've seen any previous performance from Gomez, is that he should be able to make close work of him, or good, easy work of him. However, Alex Gomez's last times were 159s. I don't know if that's because he's being held up, or if he's actually got damage from that first lap incident, which we saw him turn and get further down the field. However, Gomez, when we did last see him, was in the 36th position, so he's definitely made up at least 10 spots since then.
And we have one more time for one more driver, Brian Flaherty. Not much love so far this season. It looks like he's doing a great job of keeping his position ahead of Mark Keown. I believe we've seen him involved in a couple accidents thus far, but it looks like he's gotten away scot-free, so that's good news for Brian Flaherty.
We got Sim Racing 604 in the chat. Mike, welcome. We hope you enjoy the commentary. And if anything, you're actually welcome to join us if you wanted to come in and, just have a little chat, talk about the race as it's going.
You're making me get nervous already. I don't know how much it's... Have you ever had a moment where you've met like a famous personality, but like not in a comment section? Like, it's going to be so trippy. It's like, am I in a YouTube video right now? Like, did I traverse into the multiverse?
Yes,
as
you
I
did.
As I nerd out there for Sim Racing 604, Clark Muller, it looks like he's in the company there of Carter Close. I honestly think that Carter might be asking himself the same question. How did he teleport right behind Muller? Unfortunately, not for position as Carter goes wide.
Yeah, if Carter can stay right where he is behind Muller, even though he's running 26th position, if Muller goes into the pits, Carter, if with him doing that early pit, he's probably got enough fuel to keep behind him, learn some of his technique, learn the line that he's running, which looks like he's struggling a little bit to actually do. But he might be able to make up more than 10 positions just from this. He's got almost the entirety of the field in front of him to pit still. But if he can stay behind the leader and actually make sure that strategy happens, is he may be able to pull much closer than we see him in his current position.
And speaking of current positions, somebody who just lost quite a bit, Casper Minda. Looks like the Schumacher S takes another one out tonight.
You guys are watching the Sim Racing 604 Split 2 of the GT3 League. We've got Sim Racing 604 in the chat. If you guys got questions for him, make sure you ask him. And thank you. He says he'd be honored to join us sometime in the booth and maybe for the finale. That would be excellent. Excellent. We would absolutely be honored to have you here. And we are honored to be, commentating on these leagues and in the leagues to race ourselves. So thank you, Mike, for everything that you're doing.
Speaking of thanking somebody else, I'm pretty sure Clark Muller is not having that same thought, as it looks like Carter Close has pretty much been side to side with him these last couple turns. Carter is not giving it out. By a slight chance of a miracle, he lets him by, and there goes Muller into the pits.
Now, with Carter being right here, he's not going to meet him on his pit exit. With lap times at the 150 mark, I imagine that Clark is going to pull out probably well ahead of Carter, so there's not going to be too much of a gain there. With him kind of fighting him on that last lap, I would say that was a little questionable on whether I would do it, but if Clark was actually slowing down a little bit, in preparation for that, I could see why they were getting side by side.
It's going to be tough, especially with Justin G, Trevor Stade, and Zyman super close. It's going to be interesting where Muller comes out in relation to Justin G.
Zyman really showing a much better performance this time than what we saw at Donington. Unfortunately, he did get knocked out early from Donington. He had some unrepairable damage that just prevented him from completing the race, so he DNF'd. But now we're seeing him at his full force, just behind Stade and G, and really showing us how it's done. And if you guys aren't aware, Mark is actually one of the driver coaches for the Sim Racing 604 League for the rookies, or actually for really any experience level. There's a lot of good information from our driver coaches. Davin Sturdivant's one of them. We got Larry Foster, as well as myself. And just they're doing a phenomenal job of running the rookie series and getting people up to speed, literally, in the sim.
If I can branch off one more time, speaking of speed, Ondidi having a tough time on track. That was an interesting cut, as it looks potentially like Espindola might have gotten slowed down. And Warmington attempting a move down the inside. I don't believe they're racing, so it looks like he might be trying to get around. I don't know if that was a little tap there from Warmington on Ondidi. He's 9 places behind. But that's a tough place for him to be behind, especially, on Espindola. Ondidi having a lot of damage. It is going to be a tough one for sure for him tonight.
Yeah, that was getting a little bit sketchy. We saw Warmington kind of going off to the side, and we thought maybe he was taking the inside while he was in the grass, and that is just never a good move to make. Especially when you're so far back, because yeah, he is 9 positions back from Espindola.
Muller into 15. What do you think his undercut is looking like at the moment? Or should I say the current race leader's overcut?
Oh boy. I think he's still pulling out well ahead of everybody else. He had a 5.5 second gap between him and G. He's only got his 1 second gap, so there's probably going to start slowing down, where Trevor is going to want to start fighting position, and Muller's going to run away with it, just like Carter did at Donington.
Someone who's not running away, Corkle in the pits.
That's an interesting move from Corkle.
Pretty early on.
Pull out of the battle and go into the pits and maybe get some clean air and run some faster lap times.
Any predictions if they'll come in this lap?
I'm imagining with 21 minutes left, we're probably going to see them, with him being out as far as he can right now. G's running a 57, which is about a second slower than his fastest, his best time. He's probably feeling it in the tires a little bit. And as we talk about it, he is coming into the pits.
So is Zayman. Stade choosing to stay out.
I think Stade was probably a little caught off guard that he was going in there and maybe missed the opportunity to follow him in. And we see Alex Gomez back in 13th. As we're on board with Mark Zayman as he's completing his pit stop. But Alex Gomez is actually running 13th now. We'll see if this actually helps him get back up into those top 10 positions. Hopefully with Hopkins, Lemon, and Humphrey and Knudsen, who have not completed their pit stops yet, that will allow him to catapult a little bit further ahead.
I'm almost getting hungry flashbacks at the moment with the pit strategy as Alex Gomez charges down, attempting to get around. What do you think the probability here is of him being in striking distance? Oh, and he comes into the pits.
Oh, as he comes into the pits, and all the others in front of him have come into the pits as well. So Knudsen and Latsis, G, Hopkins. Looks like Sturdivant was in pit lane as well, completing their pit stop. Espindola's on pit entry.
Oh, that looks unfortunate for Sturdivant. I don't know if... it looks like he might have had some damage there.
Uh-oh.
And it looks like Latsis is on the exit. That's about a 5-position loss or gain. I can't tell. One says 11, one says 6.
Yeah. So there's commentary thinking that maybe G might have gotten a drive-through penalty for speeding. We'll see once he exits. Nope. It looks like
He's on track.
will be fine. Yep, he's on track. He's fine. So no automatic drive-through, at least not from the game rules.
Oh, but now that the boards have caught up, there it is. Clark Muller maintaining his lead, 2 seconds ahead of G.
And as we talk about that, Trevor Stade is now pulling into the pits, followed by Ruggiero. And they are the last of the top 10 to make their pit stops. So we'll see if Muller is actually able to get around track and pass Stade.
And it looks like the drive-through culprit was Davin Sturdivant.
Oh.
Tough luck for him tonight.
That's tough luck for the Gundam.
Ooh. As I look at Bruce Hopkins having a nice battle. Cut to Stroll right now because obviously I'm not finding his name. There he is. Nope. That's still Sturdivant. There he is. Honestly, I'm gonna make that a meme. I'm just gonna make the Stroll replay come in. Totally missed it. Totally missed it. It looks like it was 4 position with Carter close coming into the hairpin.
So Stade just coming out of pits, just behind Justin G. Clark Muller was able to get around him, not by much. It's about 4 seconds back. Zayman now just coming through turn 1, being held up by Zenny Unditi, who is now in 5th position, which means Zenny probably still has to make his pit stop.
Coming back once more to Penders. Ed Berger, tough luck there. Penders slowing them down. He is a lap down. I can't tell who Ed Berger is currently racing at the moment, as it looks like the track has gotten a bit around. It might be LeBeau, not LeBeau. One more attempt. I don't know if you can help me find this for this Porsche.
I'm trying to look at the same time. We're having a few battles develop. We got a little truly train.
It's
just
Berman,
following behind. There we go.
Yeah, so it looks like we have 3 or 4 different cars on different laps, not giving each other enough space, which is great racing, but it's hard to find out who is going to be the real loser there, and it looks like it's John Penders and Bruce Hopkins.
Oh, no, that is unfortunate.
However, they've cleared it up for us now, so we're good to keep going, but that does suck for them.
As we look on the board, we do have a stop and go 30-second penalty for Rob Ruggiero, which is really unfortunate as he's running 9th place. So not a result that he wants. And he will have about, I think, another 2 laps to complete that stop.
Yeah, from what my math says, he might be coming out somewhere in the midst of Jeff Bray and Ed Berger.
And Nick Lemon coming into his pit stop. He was running in pole position, or not pole position, but running up in the front, but had not completed his stop. Now falling down further in the field into his post-pit stop position. Justin G is running 1.4 seconds, or about 2 seconds back from Clark Muller. With Trevor Stade running a further 4 to 5 seconds back. So not the pit stop that Stade wanted to fall so far back. And Zayman, so the top 5 are actually all about 5 or so, 3 to 5 seconds away from each other.
Yeah, as we wait for the board here to catch up, Clark Muller has retaken the lead. Justin G in P3 or P2 and Trevor Stade P3. So far from our top 10, it looks like the only person we have not seen pit is Ondidi.
Which makes me wonder if he actually knows the rules about whether or not this pit stop is mandatory. As we see him, I see him actually go off a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure Max Graff is wanting some answers right now as he runs behind him in P6. And speaking of answers, I wonder how Rob Ruggiero is going to handle that stop and go.
Brad Ruggiero in the BMW Team Schnitzer BMW. Running a really well-rounded race. Very, very consistent driver. This guy is, always a pleasure to drive against and behind.
Ooh, and that looks like Max Graf in the grass. Possibly following too close there with Onditi.
Looking back further in the field, I'm trying to find a battle. It looks like I've got Nick Green versus John Penders, but it looks like John Penders went off track just as I switched to it. So that's unfortunate for Penders not having a great race today.
Espindola not getting too much love last time round, following behind Previn. Yes.
If we can get the camera on Ed Berger and Carter Close, they are actually duking it out. Berger running just behind Carter. Looks like maybe commentator's curse as Ed Berger is not getting the good run that he wanted. But just coming up to the chicane, they were side by side. And that was quite an exciting moment, I'm sure, for both of them.
Not close enough there for Ed Berger, unfortunately.
I think his entries are deep and hard, but they're not quite getting the exit that he needs in order to keep with Carter. Carter able to keep the momentum and flow through those corners.
Yeah, that Aston, not as tight as the McLaren. It looks like he is losing time.
But as we saw, Ed Berger, who came in third, was it third or did it end up being fourth position? I'm pretty sure it was third.
Yeah, third.
At Donington. So he had an excellent run then. He's running top 15 now, which is an excellent result either way for Ed Berger as he climbs those championship points.
And Justin G getting around a lapped car.
And we got a little bit of a battle brewing between Nick Lemon and Kai Berman. With Nick Lemon leading Kai Berman, and commentator's curse goes a little wide on the corner, allowing Kai Berman to pass him right there. Very clean, easy. Seems to be a lot of that tonight.
Getting really close there from Lemon.
Lemon trying to respond back, saying, hey, I'm not giving this up so easy. I'm going to try to outbrake you. And maybe, and looks like he tapped the inside on the apex, unfortunately, which drops his speed a little bit, which allows Kai Berman to rocket away. I'm thinking maybe I should go to like more of a golfing commentary voice. Let's not make this exciting. Let's bore people, make sure they fall asleep. As we see Carter Close moving now into the fairway with his car and mowing the lawn.
Oh, that's just impossible, man. As it's a tough battle there with Mike Lewis. I got to bring back the excitement here tonight. Lewis getting out of the way. Unfortunately, Lewis tonight disappointing me as a commentator. I wanted to see that yellow flag.
we are just not having any luck. These cameras are cursing all of these drivers and killing the commentary.
All right, I think it's time to bring back the wheel one more time. Random driver's pick. Who's your call?
Davin Sturdivant, who's running the number 126 car with a Gundam livery. He's running 23rd position right after Yeske. Well, actually, not right after Yeske. It's Yesk.
Actually, you had it right first. It's
I had it right, Yeske. Oh,
yep.
All right. You tricked me earlier for the broadcast. Back for that.
It took me a second. I had to scroll really far down to get to Sturdivant, but we found him.
Let's go on board with Sturdivant because I love watching the in-car view when you've got a three-way battle going. It's just amazing coming up with this chicane. It's so fast. Or it's not really a chicane. It's more of just an S-curve.
That's a lot of lift from the Aston. It almost sounded like it took him a long time to get grip.
Yeah, but Davin's really good under braking, and when you've got two cars in front of you trying to battle it out, it's only slowing them down, allowing the third driver to really catch up and make the play. But he's got to be patient. He's got to look for his moment. But he's only got 9 minutes left to do it. So coming up to the chicane, he might want to back off a little bit. Looks like they're going to go side by side up front.
Oh, and that's a great move by Yeski.
Oh, he gets a little bit wide, and he's
almost taps Davin.
What a recovery effort. We saw him just really battle that thing in order to keep it straight, and it was just not quite enough. It was an excellent move, but just could not pull it off through the chicane. So Yeski's going to fall back 2 positions.
I was starting to feel like I cursed him.
It's starting to feel that way tonight.
All right, so whose favor do we go in?
It's your call this time, so let's...
All right, let's see where the ball rolls. Ondidi's doing a fantastic job of keeping Sturdivant behind. Sturdivant not having enough pace tonight to catch up to Ondidi. Let's just see where that ball lands. Let's go on board one more time with Sturdivant. Oh. Could I have been right?
You did mention showing the veteran.
He is great on the brake, so maybe that was a purposeful. Although I gotta say, I don't know how purposeful, because we have Espindola right behind.
Well, speaking of tensions brewing, we got Justin G now running a 155s to Clark Muller's 156. So he's actually been able to catch up within 2 seconds of Muller. With Stade still, extending his gap to now about 6 to 7 seconds. But Zyman actually pulling in further and now running only about 4 seconds back from Stade. So there's a little bit of a crunch between all these drivers. However, all of their last laps were 155.9s. So they're not making appreciable time on each other.
Speaking about time and not appreciating any of it, we have Justin G stuck behind the Cookie Man himself. There it is. It's the Cookie Monster, Brett Vaughn. We found the name.
The Cookie Monster Vaughn.
There, that's it. We nailed it. Held up G a little bit. Definitely G getting impatient as he's trying to catch up to Muller. Even Muller had a bit of a tough luck getting around that NSX. It's going to be a tough time there for G to get around with 6 minutes to go. I almost want to call it, but we know what happens when we do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Muller is just starting to feel the tires or what, but it looks like everybody's top 5 lap times have now gone down into the 156s, all running within a tenth of each other, with Muller doing a 156.7, a G a 156.6, and Stade a 156.6.
So far, traveling around, it looks like the closest battle we have is Hopkins against Thomas Knudsen. We haven't seen much of Knudsen tonight in the M6, contrary to his teammate Rob Ruggiero. Although, as much as we've covered Ruggiero, Thomas Knudsen is 8 places ahead of Ruggiero.
Which, as you'll recall, Ruggiero did have the stop and go, so unfortunately that threw him further down the field from his 9th place position.
Actually, moving on to Ruggiero, it looks like he is pretty close. Did I just move away right before we saw a cool pass there? I hope not. It looks like here comes the pass we've been waiting for. Ruggiero, unfortunately not racing him, but Adam Baker.
Trying to find some battles up front. Looks like we've got something brewing between Nick Gatto and Louis Lebeau.
I dare to say that is Lebeau. It's Louis Lebeau.
We just was Louis Lebeau is getting behind, but not going fast enough. I don't understand the way he's just not putting his foot down and saying, let's go. Lebeau, let's go.
It's going to be a tough time in that McLaren. Nick Gatto is going to have to speed it up quite a bit to catch up. And it looks like our commentators from France are getting involved in this race as they're starting to get bored with our commentary. I think it's time to hear a word from our sponsor.
Oh, wait a minute. Something happened to Clark Muller.
Oh, no.
It's dropped down into 4th position. Let me see if I can go back on a replay. As you watch the development from that, Justin G was able to pull away from him, along with Trevor Stade and Marcus Simon.
Sacre bleu, Clark Muller losing so many places to Simon, Stade, and G. It's going to be a tough time for him. I agree, Frenchman. It's going to be definitely a hard one there for Muller to catch up tonight.
So I've got this on replay if you want to go ahead and switch over.
Let's find out what happened.
So as we see him come up to the S curves and then down into the downhill. Oh, and looks like he didn't quite get, did he get tapped? I couldn't quite tell if he got tapped or if he just kind of tried to correct.
That might have been a slight hitbox error from ACC. It almost looks like he gets collected out. Potentially, I can't tell if it's Nick Gatto or Justin G. From the livery, it might be Warmington, but that's speculation. It's hard to see from my point of view. But that is going to cost Clark the race tonight.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. That's always a tough one when you're running behind a back marker and unfortunately they make a mistake right on the racing line and there's not really much you can do. It sounds like the French accents are very popular.
Yes, it's these Americans. They're not doing a good job tonight. We're going to have to step in and try to get a little more action for next time, for sure. Well, that's quite rude, I would say. Mr. Frenchman Cousteau.
Actually, I'm just real upset that these Frenchmen are just kind of coming in here and trying to ruin our commentary.
I tell you what, man. If Nick were here, he'd be sad.
I'll tell you what.
He'd be sad. Because that is not a proper representation of our southern accents.
No, it is not.
I would try. I would try and fail. You know what? This is kind of, I always wanted to segue into, speaking of failing, let's move on into Mr. Universe. Not so hot tonight.
Oh, and that's a deep cut from our fellow commentator.
And he still did it. How rude. But I had to. Although, in the luck tonight, Leonard Cacciola.
Now, Leonard Cacciola, he's been running quite an excellent race tonight. Hello, everybody. My name is Nick Gass. I'm actually the third commentator. I've been actually pit reporting a little bit behind the scenes. What I'm actually looking at is Mike Latsis, who's running 6th position. So if you want to switch over to the cameras and cover Latsis, he's actually running just behind Aaron Baker. He's getting quite a bit close, within a second, but losing it out every time they come upon a straight. I think that Audi just has a little bit more frontline speed than the Ferrari.
It's quite good to see Adam Baker recovering after a tough race tonight.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, Adam Baker he's still running a very respectable position. Now, Giancarlo, do you feel that Jonathan Corkle is absolutely, happy with his 5th position? Yeah, having raced with Jonathan Corkle, he's an excellent racer. He's very fast, very technical minded, and he's pretty consistent. However, he just ends up with some luck that just does not go his way. Corkle is running fifth, but he's got some very fast guys in front of him. He's got Justin D, Trevor Stade, Marcus Zyman, and Clark Moeller. And unfortunately, Carter's not there quite yet to battle with them, but the race is over. So this is the last lap for all of our racers tonight.
And it looks like we have Du Bist Waldmeister, Justin G, coming in. That's the most German you're going to get tonight.
That was like a French German.
What can I say? It's like Gunther. Something. It was a tough one there for Justin. Not going to lose him anything. A bit of a hard one there for his first win, but he gets to the room there. So great job by Justin coming in P1, followed by Trevor Stade, P2, Zyman in P3, and our, unfortunately, prior race winner there, Clark Moeller. Tough luck out. Le Cousteau coming in P5. Great job by him. Very good race. Jonathan Coco, best friend of mine. Yes, sir, oui. And then in P5, or actually P6, Adam Baker. If he's able to make the line, let's hope he does. Hope that's not commentator's curse.
We
called it a little soon.
We do have Nick Gatto racing Louis Lebeau. And they're still within, they're going to fight this all the way to the end, coming through the S curve, now into the downhill long straight. With also Alex Gomez just behind Kai Berman. So a little bit of a last lap battle in the midfield.
And there goes Lebeau down the inside.
A little bit of a contact there, a little bump saying, hey, I'm trying to get this position. Can you please just get out of my way? And him saying, no way. I'm still here. I'm going to take it.
Fantastic job by Nick Gatto getting ahead of Lebeau, followed by Berman as well. Great job by them. Unfortunately, Alex Gomez is going to lose out a lot tonight.
Now, Nick, you're not Nick King, obviously, but and you only just joined us for this broadcast. How did you feel that whole race went?
Oh, it was actually very, very exciting. I absolutely loved everybody's competitiveness. The strategies within pits were very differentiated, and all the positions on track were absolutely fantastic to watch them come out. Carter Close actually running an early pit stop, but not quite making up the positions that he wanted, still allowed him a top 15 from the 20th position that he was running. Gerson, how did you feel that the race went?
Honestly, that was kind of a roller coaster. It had a monster high. It was hard to keep up with track battles. I want to say through the first half, and then somewhere down the middle, we had a bit of a challenge where it was just kind of hard to find anyone near each other until we saw the pit strategies develop, and then I really felt the track evolve once more into that second stint, and we really saw a lot of good racing. Hard to capture a lot of it, but I think that the final result was pretty surprising from what we started with, having Justin G in that first position and Mueller losing out as well as Close. But to my favorite driver once more, Cacciola, great job, P9. We didn't see him in P13, so I think he's doing something great.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, we did see a little bit of a lull after the pits kind of cycled through, but there were still battles here and there kind of through the midfield and the back of the pack. For the top five, they kind of strung out, ran their races, and unfortunately for Clark Mueller, it was not the result that he wanted, but still a really amazing effort. Had that incident not happened on the fourth to last lap, he definitely would have ran away with this race.
Do you think we're going to have anybody come into the booth tonight?
I'm saying, guys, don't go away from the comment. Don't go away from the stream. We're gonna attempt to pull in some drivers and actually get their feelings on the race. So hang tight. We may go to break for just 1 second as we set up the replays and everything. But stick with us.
I think while you guys are waiting, I'm going to play you the music of my peoples. It is very good in France, I promise. I do apologize if the volume is a bit high. I'm working with Americans. It's always difficult, of course.
Americans.
Ah, yes. Quite good, quite stylish. So enjoy the waiting music while we try to establish communication. Try not to fall asleep, please. Disrespectful to my music taste.
So it looks like we got Jeff Bray. How's it going, Jeff?
Could be better.
What a kind of I wouldn't say kind of disappointed. It is a disappointed race. We have Jeff Bray here in the booth with us in the Mordecai's Twitch channel for the Sim Racing 604 GT3 Split 2 race. Bray, you had an excellent run for qualifier, running an absolute blistering 52. What happened at that start? Why do you surmise that there might have been that drive-through penalty?
I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure what happened, and I was a bit too far to the left because I didn't want to get too much dirt on my right tires. So I was hugging to the left side as much as I could, but I think I was a bit too far, so I was technically out of position.
Yeah, and that's really rough. And, sometimes there is that usability issue of not understanding quite where you are. It did look like drivers behind you were a little bit further back than maybe you were expecting or something, but it did look a little chaotic on that start. We didn't see much of contact throughout that whole midfield. After the drive-through penalty, what kind of went through your head for the remainder of the race?
I don't know, man. I guess damage limitation, but thinking of strategy as well to try to make up places that way. But I don't know. It was pretty rough.
Yeah, it's always disheartening to hear.
Speaking of rough, if you hop over and watch, if you can, the stream here on Discord, I'm following Bray here on lap 1, or into turn 1 on the first lap. Definitely doing a great job of maintaining the lead and staying ahead of everybody else. It looks like where we had a lot of the challenge there was in the back with Gomez, and we can see almost 3 McLarens and 1 Audi just sending it really tough, and it looks like that's Carter close there, cutting into what looks to be either Corkle or Zyman. Tough to tell. But Jeff, what did you think there coming into turn one as you're fighting with Justin G?
Well, since I saw the drive-through right when the start happened, from there on it was pretty hard to focus and think that I could still win. And so I don't know. I was just trying to keep cool.
Yeah, that's that's nearly 5 wide in turn 1 with an off track to just send it all to the fiery heavens. But it, for the most part, outside of the I think there was a little bit of contact through there. We didn't see too many drive-through penalties happen because of the incident. So luckily, nobody lost out too much. So we see somebody going off track there.
Yeah, it looks like that's I want to say it's Nick Green. Yep, that's Green.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I can leave these on for.
Well, actually probably help for the replays. Well, thank you for coming in and talking to us, Jeff. What are your thoughts going into the next race? Are you going to try to prepare a little bit more, or what do you have in preparation for next race in order to make sure that this kind of doesn't happen again?
I think just play it safe. Really, just make sure to play it safe, and also just practice a bit more to make sure pace is there for sure, so I can win.
Awesome. Sounds good. I know you're very fast, and there's a lot of competition out there. As we saw in the GT4s, you're definitely not slow. So it's excellent to see you running these GT3s this split. And so thank you for hopping in here and talking to us. We look forward to your next race.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, so analyzing this back again, there's a couple instances here in the back. We missed this because we obviously weren't focused on the front there. But so it looks like Lewis comes into the rear of Green, and as well as Flaherty, avoiding Rogers, who we didn't see much of the race afterwards. I believe he might have DNF'd early on. But so we see Flaherty in the marbles, trying to go down the inside on Rogers. Rogers with a bit of contact on Abbott, and that just dominoed effect into Flaherty. So which sucks. I mean, his initial overtake is which led to his downfall here, and that sends him straight into the wall. And I believe he rebounds one more time, and it looks like he goes back into Abbott. Oh, nope. He goes into Green.
Oh, that's why we saw Green go off. All right.
Yeah, it was not Lewis.
That is really rough. So so you guys know, this is not an official stewardship decisions of what we're reviewing or anything like that. What we're seeing here is purely speculation on our parts about what might be going through the drivers' heads, and we're just kind of reviewing the race from our perspective. I am going to pull in Clark Muller and Trevor Stade at the same time. So Clark Muller, who was running first for the majority of the race, was now finished in fourth, with Trevor Stade finishing in second, just behind Justin G. So let me go ahead and pull these guys in.
It's almost like you want these guys to fight it out here, man, in the chat.
Stade, I don't know what you're talking about. Clark Muller, Trevor Stade, welcome, guys. Clark, we're going to start off with you. What an amazing effort, first and foremost, and congratulations on your you still were able to salvage at least a top 5 finish, placing fourth. What went through your head for most of this race up until that incident on the third to last lap?
Yeah, it was good. Nurburgring's like one of my favorite tracks. I feel pretty consistent at it. So I was just telling Trevor, like, I usually can't quali that well. Like, I've done 54, like 8s and 7s and stuff, but I just can't do it, like, with the pressure's on. But a little lucky that Bray and G they hit, like, I guess right after the stadium there. Pretty lucky to just kind of catch that and then get through. And then I think G actually had a decent recovery from it, so he was on me for a bit, but then I started pulling away, and I think by the time my pit came, it was around 4 or 5 seconds the gap, and I felt pretty good. and then after the pit came out, he was pretty close to me again, like 4 or 5 seconds or so. He actually started closing it. He got down to around a 0.9 or second or 1.9, and then I started peeling away from him, and it was only about 5 laps left or so, and then I think it was the third last lap. I saw that McLaren, and I'm always very cautious and very hopeful for the blue flags. Like I don't like, some guys are nervous. They can't really, they're new or they're trying, and they slide out in a spot you're not expecting. And I looked at the replay for a couple seconds, and it's just like I don't know what I could have, given that opportunity again. 9 times out of 10, you probably still hit the guy, but maybe you can kind of dodge him, or I was trying to brake a little bit, then gas and brake, and I could have went wider, but it just sucks because I think I technically, led like how many laps there were. I led the entire race until the very end, like every single lap, I guess. So it felt really good, but then it just it happens. It just kind of gets taken away, and this is all just for fun anyway, so I'm not too mad. I can go to work tomorrow and still pat myself on the shoulder, maybe, I guess.
Technically, technically, I led a lap when you pitted, so.
Oh
that's
yeah,
what I just want to clarify.
Trevor had it. Yeah.
Not
So-
every lap, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. I get it. There's maybe 2 there, I think, that I was out for sure, but it was fun. It was good. I really like Nuremberg. Like I felt like no matter what would happen, I think that I was gonna put pressure on Bray if he was around, and then because he was pretty quick too. But in the end, it is what it is. Like it happens. You kind of feel gutted, but at the same time, other guys, it's a learning experience. I don't even know who it was, and for him, he's just trying to learn and figure it out, and that's fine. So it is what it is.
Yeah, that was actually Warmington who was just ahead of you, who had
Okay.
the spin. And from our perspective, even from both mine and Gerson's, if this had been real life, it would have just maybe peeled off your back rear bumper, and you would have been well on your way to that first place position. But unfortunately, the Sims and netcode being what they are, it just did not play out that way.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was all good anyway. So.
What are your plans for next race? We didn't get to see an effort out of Donington that that really led Carter Close to just pull away into that 251st championship point spot. What are you guys going to do in order to stem the runaway of Mr. Universe?
Well, I missed the first race. I had to work late, so I even missed the first race. So I was just here to try to get as many podiums as I could before the end of the season. But I don't think today's win would have been a little bit. I would have caught him a little bit. I don't know how far Carter got actually, how far down he finished, but he I think had a rough.
I ended
race,
up I ended up tapping him on the first lap. He kind of came really hard into one of the turns, but then he just was sideways in front of me, and I couldn't get stopped in time, and ended up tapping him around even more. So, but like he was already wrecking at that point, and then I don't think it got much better from him after that.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
I just plan on getting second place every week, so that's what I'm gonna do. Never win.
It's Snetterton next, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a chance of rain, I think, too.
Excellent.
2 things that I know basically every track except for that track. So, and I don't know if I have time to practice it. So maybe I'll get 10th or something. We'll see.
Now we saw in the split 1 races, Joel Dallas pulling away and making an excellent effort at Snetterton. In the rain, how have you guys practiced? I mean, you just said that you don't have much practice in the rain. Last season we saw a Suzuka in the rain, which was a really excellent race between Borden, myself, and some others. How much practice have you guys actually done in the rain, and are you looking forward to rain races?
Or do you want me to go?
I haven't done any real practice in the rain, especially in Snetterton. So I was really kind of going week to week here with how much practice I can get in between it, and wasn't actually aware it was. Is it going to be rain, or is there a possibility of rain? But I don't know.
I think it's all a possibility of rain,
Okay.
but it's not guaranteed.
Should be interesting then. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a lot of fun to race people out here.
It's pretty wild. Yeah, it is wild. I don't mind rain races. I've had a few wins in the rain. I'm not like a rain magician or anything, but like it again, with the consistency, like I don't ever push too hard. Like you just kind of like stay away from the curbs and let up when you need to and just like stay on the track. Because I think like a lot of people will probably just spin out and hit curbs and stuff like that, and that really is a hindrance. So if anyone out there is listening, just stay off the curbs, take it easy, and you might just gain 5 positions from people in the puddles on the grass or whatever.
Mhm. It might mix up the cars a little bit too. There's some of the people who are just on that outside edge who are driving Bentleys and Aston Martins and stuff who might be a little bit better than the McLarens or probably the Audi in the rain if it's really coming down. But we'll see. Should be interesting.
I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully it does rain, as Joel Dallas said in the chat, so that you guys get a little bit of what he experienced. Thank you guys for joining us. I think we might have one more. Looks like we may get Marcus Simon in the booth. Let me see if I can pull him in here.
Actually, Trevor, if you could stay for a second so we can talk about this turn 1 here as you got sandwiched in with Corkle and Zyman.
I didn't realize it was 4 wide till I went back and looked at it, but yeah, it was kind of pinballs in there.
Oh, it was nearly 5 wide at one point.
Yeah, Carter wasn't too far from. He was pretty close. It looks like crickets there. That one went over your head.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just happy to come out and everyone was. It got through it fairly cleanly, and then it got worse later in the lap. But
now you guys all had, just even post this incident. So, Marcus, are you here with us?
Yeah.
You sound a little bit far away. You had an excellent race too, running fourth for most of the race, and then now ending in third.
Yeah, that was just my luck and someone else's bad luck, I guess, misfortune there at the end. So yeah, I got lucky to get a podium in my first race that I could complete with you guys. It was fun.
Yeah, being new to the league, what were your thoughts going into that turn 1 with you've got all these guys right next to you. You're almost going 5 wide. What are your thoughts going into that turn?
Well, honestly, I'm always bad off the mark. I don't know why. And Carter, I learned this last time at Donington that he's like a rocket off the line. I just didn't want to cause an incident in the first turn, and then we ended up going like 4.5 wide. So yeah, I think I'm not sure if I came across Carter's nose there. It was kind of hard to tell because there was just on the radar there was just cars everywhere. Those the little white markings everywhere on the radar. So it's kind of hard to avoid everyone.
Yeah, I kind of.
Sorry, go ahead, Trevor.
I kind of found a line and just hoped no one came into it.
That's kind of what I was trying to do too, because I was on the outside there. So I tried to stick to the outside, but then Carter had his nose just on my rear tire. So we had a little contact there. And then luckily none of the rest of us touched. I just kind of stuck to the outside there, and then I was on the inside. And then I think you and I were next to each other down into that slow corner where there's no grip. And then I managed to get in front of you, and then you were crushing me from behind. I was just watching that rear view mirror. You were right there the whole time.
Yep. It felt real good to chase you, and then I got past and realized you were still on behind me, and then it got a lot harder to drive with someone right on behind you.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough. You have to really, really concentrate. And you were doing such a good job. You were staying huge in my mirrors. Everywhere where I was weak, you were like on top of me. It was awesome.
I don't know if you guys are actually looking at Gerson's live stream, or if you're looking at here in Discord. You guys were nearly 5 wide, and it looks like it got kicked off by Gomez, who went just a little bit deep into turn 1 and just pushed Corkle and stayed and right into you, Marcus. And luckily that helped catch your little bit of oversteer to correct it, which was kind of fantastic to watch in slow-mo.
Yeah.
Epic camera work here. Look at this. Woof. Look at this. 4 cars right on my rear bumper. I just snuck away. That was scary.
Oh man, yeah, that was wild. I was so afraid of the first lap here. I've only ever done one other league race at this track, and the whole field wrecked in turn 2. Literally everyone. So I was just thinking about that too, and I was just like, please, let's get through the first lap, please. And then we did, more or less.
Oh, it's awesome to see. And so now looking forward with you being new to the league, we saw a DNF, unfortunately, at Donington. You're not picking up points where you need to. We're already, kind of midway through the season. What's your outlook for the rest of the season, or even for the next race?
Honestly, I just want to do as well as I can, kind of get to know everybody a little bit. So far, everybody has been absolutely fantastic. So that's helped. And then obviously I don't want to get in the way of the folks that are actually fighting for the title. So the Porsche, the guy's name is escaping me, in the Porsche who spun or who went off there. I was going to let him pass actually if he managed to make it back up to my bumper.
Yeah, that's me, Zeman.
Gotcha.
Marcus. Yeah, it's Clark. It's all good. I got tapped at the end on like the third last lap. I got tapped. Someone spun in front of me, and I tried to dodge it. It was just impossible.
Gotcha.
I ended up going backwards for a bit, but it was all good.
Gotcha. Well, I'm glad you managed to still salvage it more or less with the 4th. That kind of happened to me in Donington, and I had too much damage. I couldn't drive in a straight line anymore, so I had to retire. So yeah, glad you finished though, still, for sure.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, thank you guys again. Good luck in your next races. I really look forward to commentating it, as I'm sure Gerson does too. Gerson, do you have any parting words for our friends here?
Do better.
Well, I'll say I love the accent. That was fantastic. That was top stuff.
Which accent? Because there was a lot during the broadcast.
Well, I couldn't see the broadcast, but the one you just had, the British accent, Londoner accent. That was fantastic. You're so good at that, man.
Oh no, that's actually me. My name's Nick Goss. I'm actually a roommate of Giancarlo's, and I've been here pit reporting the entire time.
Dang.
Don't let him try to get all the attention. It's quite rude. Giancarlo deserves more credit.
It's just Gerson and I going back and forth trying to one up each other throughout the entire broadcast.
Very nice, man. I look forward to watching it back then, for sure.
Well, hopefully it's fun. All right, well, that's it from me. Normally I would try to close this if it was my broadcast, but Gerson, it's yours, so I'll go ahead and let you have the last word.
You know what, man? It's your turn.
All right, guys, that's it for the Mordecai. This was the Sim Racing 604 GT3 League Split 2. You've been watching race number 4 of season 5 here at the Nurburgring. We were joined by Clark Muller, who was our front runner of most of the race. And then we have Marcus Zyman, who finished 3rd in the race, and Trevor Say, who finished 2nd. We're late follow in with Nick King, who unfortunately could not broadcast with us. But we hope you guys join us again next week, Wednesday, for Snetterton. Sounds like it's going to be an excellent race. Race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.
Good night, guys.